You remember when I did a video on an episode of Blind Date a while back? I'll card to it if you want to go check it out after this one. What if I told you Steve-O from Jackass was on an episode of Blind Date? And it's not like a joke. He was just on an episode of Blind Date. I just found this out and I have not watched it yet. I did find a video of it. I have not watched it, so we're going to be going in blind. Blind Date, that is. But I'm really excited to see what this is like because Steve-O's always probably been my favorite of the Jackass crew. Not necessarily because of the things that he does. He just always seemed like one of the people I would most like. He seemed to understand boundaries with other people better than some of the other guys. He and Chris just seemed to care the most. Like maybe him and Chris and Johnny Knoxville seemed to care a little bit more than everybody else about what they were doing to people. I don't know them, but I just always got vibes from Steve-O that I would probably like him. And he's doing really well now, which is really cool to see. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this episode and see what we got going on.
All right, now let's move on and play Cupid with Desiree and her date Steve-O. Now, Steve-O is a cast member of the MTV show Jackass.
Like, I just can't believe this isn't a joke. I can't believe this isn't a bit on some other sketch show. It's a real episode of Blind Date. That's crazy to me.
I'm down for doing crazy stuff.
My man rolled out of bed and came to Blind Date.
I swallowed the goldfish and puked him up.
I'm not just full of air.
I jumped in big piles of elephant poo.
He didn't do anything with his hair. He didn't put on a new shirt. I guess he's just Steve-O through and through.
I hate inhibitions. I hate a guy that sits there and doesn't say anything.
I want to make the world a dumber place.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, now we all heard Desiree say she can't stand inhibitions, right? Well, trust me, we're giving her what she wants.
It's interesting to me that this is like post-Jackass. Jackass, I don't know how big Jackass was when this episode came out, but it was big enough for him to mention it. So what's he doing? Why is he on an episode of Blind Date? Is this some like behind-the-scenes collab? Or did he just feel like doing it?
Hi, I'm Desiree.
Desiree, Steve.
Nice to meet you. Come on.
Yeah.
I also have to assume he doesn't really live there. I don't think they would have shown his house. I mean, I don't know. Things were different back then, but I would think they wouldn't show a celebrity's house like that. I don't know. I guess they did it on MTV Cribs and stuff. Maybe he did live there. Maybe Jackass hadn't blown up like that. Maybe Steve-O didn't have a ton of money yet. I don't know. I've got so many questions. So I had to do a little bit of research because I was just really curious about the timeline here. This is 2002. This is after Jackass was done airing new episodes, apparently, or close to it. The show ran from October 1st to 2002. It only had 3 seasons. Does that blow anybody else's mind? I feel like there's so much footage, and I know that there's been Jackass movies, but I would have sworn that show was on longer. I guess they just ran reruns? That's mind-blowing. But this is after Jackass was done or very close to being done, so I have to assume Steve-O was already fairly popular and wealthy. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I would have thought it ran for like 7 or 8 years. Anyway.
Do you live alone?
Actually, I don't live anywhere. I'm going on this big tour.
Oh, well, that explains it then. He's probably just, I don't think there was Airbnb back then, but he's probably just staying in someone's house or renting something temporarily, I guess. Makes sense.
I'm ready.
She said she didn't like inhibitions.
I'm gonna change my clothes.
I've never sat down and thought about what I would expect a first date with Steve-O to be like for somebody, but I think this is probably it. I think this is exactly what you would come up with if you really sat down and gave it some thought.
Oh my fucking God! That had to hurt.
The salt I saw coming. I figured he'd snort the salt. I don't know why I wasn't expecting the lime juice in the eye. That one caught me off guard. What a goober, dude.
It's like the lime, I'm already over it. The salt creeps up on you. Like, it's only really starting to bum me out now.
It's starting to bum me out. I'm a little bummed out about that salt I snorted.
Is the steak knife sharp?
Is the steak knife sharp? Yeah. Yeah, it probably is. It's a knife.
All right, check it out, dude.
I mean, okay, look, it's probably not a great thing to do on a date, but that's pretty impressive. That's pretty dope. Probably a lot harder than it looks.
I missed it. I couldn't watch that one. No knife tricks.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from stabbing our tables, please.
Oh, that's it. I've had enough.
Is that the first time someone has ever said they'll actually go on a second date with you?
I don't know. I don't really do dates.
Look, he's probably doing okay aside from the nose blowing. The nose blowing probably should stop. But other than that, I think it's going okay.
I think it's 8 or 10 days from tomorrow.
You might want to call me and let me know.
My cell phone works, like, no matter where I am in the country.
I think that's every cell phone. I think that's the general idea of cell phones. Is it? Is it not? Did cell phones not used to be that way? It's 2002. Cell phones, I guess, hadn't been around for a super long time. Maybe that was a special thing to say back then. I don't know.
Heads up, Steve-O! Now, what show was Steve-O a cast member of? Jackass? Boy, you talk about perfect casting.
Wow, roasted. You roasted him. There you go. There was Steve-O on Blind Date in 2002. I don't know. I get the impression that it went a little better than they edited it to look like it went. But I don't know. I mean, he's Steve-O. She knew who he was, I think. I'm pretty sure you knew who Steve-O was if you were in that age range in 2002. I don't know. That was kind of interesting. Fun to watch. Let me know what you think about it. And if you see anything like this that's just weird and obscure, let me know about it. Drop it in a comment for me. I'd be interested in seeing more stuff like this. I don't know how I've made it to 2023 and be the fan that I am of Blind Date and not known Steve-O was on an episode of Blind Date. But again, anything else obscure like that, drop it in the comments for me and I'll go check it out and maybe make a video on it. All right. Big shout out to my Patreon. I appreciate you guys so much. I got some fun stuff coming for the Patreon soon. I'm gonna be starting some Patreon only content fairly soon. So if that interests you, go check it out. There's a link below. Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.